Jazzcast Pros.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Getting Real with Bossy, the podcast that shows you what it's really like to be a small business owner with Kelly Bush.
Kelly Metras. Can we just talk time change really quick?
Sure. Absolutely.
I fell asleep at like 7:30 last night because I woke up yesterday time. I woke up at like 6 o'clock in the morning because God forbid I was like, oh, I'm going to sleep in. I got nothing going on. Not only did I not sleep in, I got up earlier than normal.
Yeah.
Which was a whole hour earlier than normal. So I fell asleep at like 7:30, slept till 11, was up from 11 to 1, where I finally took something to help me go back to sleep. And then had to get up at 6:30 this morning. Why? I guess that's an episode in itself. Why the time change?
Why? And my mother, every time, she's like, oh, I hear they're going to change that. I'm like, dude, they have been saying that forever. They're never going to change it. It's absurd that we still do it.
My heart goes out to everyone today that's trying to survive life, whether you're a business owner or not.
We're here with you.
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm excited for today because I'm excited to talk about something that's not us. But also we do have an episode with you and I coming up where I do kind of want to talk about the craziness of what today is. It is election eve and it's so important and it's giving me a lot of anxiety. It's been giving me anxiety for the last 4 months because of how election years affect small businesses, especially retail and hospitality, because people get real nervous. But man, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I did just I had the privilege to go out of town for about 5 days and visit my sister in Savannah and forget that the world existed and spend some time there, which was a nice getaway. But then back to reality.
That's the worst part of traveling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's so nice when you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
But today we have a really special episode we're super excited about.
I'm ready. So today we are catching up with Angelina Hilton, who joined us first in episode 9. So way back when. So we were definitely
podcasters back then.
I know. We were just babies.
We had your basement studio.
Mm-hmm. Which we'll get going again someday. I just got to do some figuring out. I got to do some learning. So just as a refresher, Angelina, the powerhouse at that time, behind 2 downtown Rochester businesses, PopRoc and Variant Ventures, a wife, a mother, a serial entrepreneur. She's always been a self-starter in quality that she credits for much of her success. She and her husband built PopRoc out of a shared love for food, pop culture, and a passion for serving the community. Quickly became a neighborhood favorite. And then we pivot and switch to Angelina today. She stepped back from PopRoc to focus on her new venture at that time, Native Made. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. Transition followed the first Native Made market where she saw a powerful need for authentic representation in the marketplace. Today, we're going to dive into her journey of pivoting from PopRoc to launching Native Made into what it is today, exploring what inspired her shift, discussing the challenges and where she is today. So I'm very excited to jump in and see what it means to really follow that calling and create the lasting impact that I know she's going to do.
Hi, I'm Kelly.
And I'm Kelly,
the hosts of Getting Real with Bossy, the real, raw, and honest podcast about small business ownership. With our experience, 9 businesses and over 25 years, we continue to bear it all and share what we wish we had known.
We move past the must be nices and start getting real.
Leave with another tool for the next time you feel alone on this journey.
Business ownership leads to unexpected knowledge. What are you an expert at?
Tell us at Getting Real with Bossy and subscribe today. We're so excited to have Angelina with us. For those of you that have been listening for the almost 50 episodes we've done, Angelina was early on, and we had an amazing conversation about all of the incredible things that you were doing at the time. And
episode 9, go back and check it out.
You showed up in a Wonder Woman outfit, which was just the highlight of the entire year.
It really was.
It was amazing. They say to dress for the job you want, and you showed up.
So showed up.
So we invited you today to kind of give us a recap on what is new with Angelina, what you're up to, changes that have happened, and some really cool things to promote for this month, which is why we wanted to sneak you in before it got further along in November, because you have so much cool stuff going on.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me back. What an incredible opportunity, a great platform. Congratulations on your, did you just say 50 episodes? Like,
we're close.
Holy cow, close. Oh, well, we're going to reel her in. All right. So thank you again for having me back. It has been a journey. It's been a couple of years, like 2 years almost. And so at that time, I had a restaurant. I was getting ready to publish a book. I was refocusing a little bit less on some of the restaurant, but trying to transition into some marketing services. And I was launching the initial Native Made market, and now we are here 2 years later. I did not publish my book. I recognize that there is a story that you can write to help you to heal, and then there's the stories that you can write to share. And so I learned thereafter that, that just wasn't the time. And then after the initial Native Made market, I recognized that there was a significant need for representation and services for Indigenous entrepreneurs. And then in 2023, I decided to take a pivot and just focus entirely my efforts on the mission of Native Made, which is to increase Indigenous visibility. And we do that through a variety of services. One basket is marketing services. So we do business consulting, graphic design, web design, search engine optimization. And then we also do collaborative services. So we work a lot with different organizations to do events like the Indigenous Peoples Day that we just had on October 14th, or the second Monday of every October. We're in our third Native Made market. And I'm also participating in other events throughout the year to bring visibility to Indigenous communities.
I just wanted to take a moment to remind our listeners / viewers, depending on what platform you're on, your background, your Indigenous background.
Yes, so I am a member of the Sac and Fox Nation of Missouri and Kansas and Nebraska, and a descendant of the Iowa tribe of Kansas and Nebraska Buffalo Clan. And so 2 years ago, when we had our restaurant, we were providing a service to our community called Free Lunch Fridays. And what we were doing was opening our doors to our community between noon and 1 and offering anybody a free meal, no questions asked. And we were partnering with different organizations who were giving us different food ingredients, and then we were inviting guest chefs in to make something special. So it was an opportunity that didn't feel like you were embarrassed to come in and ask for something, or that you had to take a ticket and give that. We wanted to make people feel included and have dignity. And so fast forward to November, the fourth Friday of November was Native American Heritage Day and the day after Thanksgiving. And being an Indigenous entrepreneur and being assimilated into dominant European culture, I looked outside of our restaurant and it was like an, oh my God, moment. Like there's no Native restaurants, cafes, boutiques, other organizations, but yet there is this population here, but there's nothing here to celebrate, honor, and elevate. And so it was really an opportunity to introduce the community to different cultures through food. And then with the next day being Small Business Saturday and being a small business, it was like, what is more appropriate than to bring the perspective and the lens on the most local businesses in the area, which are the original inhabitants. And so I went out and started building relationships with other Indigenous entrepreneurs from all different nations. We're on the land of the Seneca, which they call themselves the Onondaga. And then there's 6 nations within this confederacy right in New York State. And so it truly became an opportunity to provide a platform, provide a space, invite the original inhabitants of this land to be able to educate people about nothing about us without us, to the community on what it means to be Indigenous. And I mean, it was the week of Thanksgiving, Native American Heritage Day. Again, these stories and narratives should be shared to the community through us and not through textbooks that are incredibly outdated.
Your Native Made markets have been amazing. Not only just the products that are being sold, but the experience itself. And taking my kids feels like something extra special. So it's not just, there's lots of markets you can shop at. We shop at all of them this month. We all want to support local, buy locally made and produced things for people in this big shopping season we're in. But it's a whole nother level of, like you said, I mean, these are the original inhabitants and the stories that you're getting told. And when you're asking about the products and why they make them the way they do and what they're making and how they're making it, it's a completely different experience than a normal market. So I'm going to plug the Native Made Market as much as possible for people to go to and support and shop and learn.
Thank you. And in addition to that, we also have an opportunity for allies to get involved because inclusivity is important and we're all a part of we're all indigenous to Mother Earth and we're all in this big pot of, it's like this beautiful homemade soup with all these different ingredients from the gardens that have all these different characteristics. But when they come together, there's so much in abundance and they feed your soul. And so it didn't feel right to only just highlight only Indigenous peoples, but also the fact like I'm also Sicilian, so that is part of my identity. And what we wanted to do is include our allies. So we have an ally alley where we have organizations who can come and if they're in alignment with the mission, they can talk about their work with Indigenous communities, but also we take in-kind contributions and financial contributions from everybody. And we have door prizes, which gives folks an opportunity to get a little something back from all the different local businesses that we have here.
So people pivot for a variety of reasons, but it really comes down to two, right? It's boredom and need. And this has been a pivot of need for you. And you are definitely walking the walk. And it gets an incredible pivot. It makes so much sense knowing you. I don't know you very well, but I've known you for a long time. And this seems to be right where you should be. So congratulations on that. And it is incredible work that you're doing. And I think we can kind of guess why, but why are we not seeing more Indigenous retail? Just thinking like in the hospitality industry, how do we get that to happen more? I would love to know more. What can we do to help out? Why are these things not existing? Tell me more, because I love what you're doing. How can we get more of you out there?
Oh, well, you should come to the link call tonight. Tonight.
Oh, okay. Tell me more.
Event happening at City Hall where we have representation from all 6 nations. And then we've got representation from Piscataway, Cherokee, Navajo. And these are all a lot of them are close by or residents within the city. So we just, I don't have the answer to all of that. All I know is that it's what I'm trying to do is to increase that visibility, build relationships with as many people as I can, with as many change makers as I can, people, because when we talk, a lot of this comes down from the way that the system has been built, designed to erase us. It's in our education systems, the textbooks, and even online, they don't represent us to where we're at now or where we're going in the future. We're out in the freaking moon. Come on now, we're in outer space. We're all over TV now. We're coming back. And so I think that, but also too with Indigenous peoples and tradition versus contemporary, some nations are very traditional and don't want to have anything to do with anything outside of the nation or not tradition. With technology, communication is huge in order to get visible with people. In today's generation, you have to be in tune with the technology. And some tribes just unfortunately, it's just unfortunate, but I'm trying to work with those who are willing to embrace, to be able to get out there and share those stories, uplift their voice, tell those stories, because we've got oral tradition. It's come down years and years and years, but this new generation that's coming up that's gone to school, I have a degree in advertising, and I was using my skills to work with people that were not Indigenous. And then when I was like, oh my God, I have these skill sets, I can use this to elevate and increase visibility of all these different nations. I just needed to pivot my focus just a little bit to do that. And I think because we've been assimilated so much and we've been told one story so many times, we don't think that there's anything else out there. And even ourselves, I had identity issues. And so did my grandparents. Like, they were persecuted for being Indigenous, so we couldn't be Indigenous. So it's also like safety. Like, it's so layered. But tonight at City Hall, we have a gathering of all these different nations for this exhibit called On Native Land. And it talks about the relationship that we have with Mother Earth. It talks about the relationship that we have with each other. And then it talks about what we can do to move forward to, again, increase the visibility, bring us to the table when we're making decisions, include us when we're writing new educational curriculum. And with it being voting tomorrow, I mean, if Tim Walz ascends to the White House, Peggy Flanagan becomes the first Native American woman to be in the highest position in the United States government. Like, things are changing. So I'm pretty confident that in the near future, you're going to start seeing a lot more visibility locally, especially as we're starting to come together as a community and build these relationships with allies and each other in the different nations.
Well, and I feel like in this area, and it happens in other parts of the country, it is so heavily historically Indigenous, like the tribal connection, the names of everything, and the confusion of it. Like, I know growing up here and being like, well, what does this mean? And what are the different nations and who is in charge? And you hear all the different stories, but like you said, it's textbook stories. It's not real stories. It's not the oral traditions that have been handed around. And that always kind of bothered me, because I'm like, there's people right here. Like, they still live here. Like, why just have them coming into school and telling us what life is really like and what the stories were? Yeah, it's disappointing. But I do see that there are small changes being made. And obviously, we all want big changes, but we'll take the small changes when we can get them.
There's definitely small and big rides, but they're happening. I mean, it takes time. It takes time. This event this evening took 2 years for it to come to fruition. I didn't say yes right away when they first asked after the first Native Made Market, because there was an opportunity for education. So, like, the first Native Made Market came out, and it was on Small Business Saturday, and we were approached right after to ask to curate an American made exhibit. And so I had to get clarification on what that meant, because he didn't say Native American made. And so that was just an opportunity for us to pause and ponder, reflect, and then proceed, so that it wasn't a good fit that first year. But then there was a second year ask. And again, we were able to work through some clarifications and education and, cultural exchange. And then there was a third ask. And at that third ask, it was like, okay, I think that, this persistence and patience, and them taking my nose and still coming back, that turn them into not yet, just shows that, they're taking this seriously, that they want to make change and they want to do it right. So again, nothing about us without us.
I love that. I see you now, and then we ran into each other recently, which is kind of where this whole thing came up with. I've been watching what you're doing. I remember meeting you for the first time. I remember interviewing you for the first time. I feel like you're a different person. So if you think back to when we interviewed you almost 2 years ago, do you feel like a different person?
Heck yeah. If I was the same person, then there wouldn't have been growth. There's so much growth. There's so much progress. I've been in active recovery, like just continuing to grow in my journey and in my relationships, and I'm learning. So I would be disappointed in myself if I was the same person that I was 2 years ago. And especially considering all that, we go through in our businesses and in our personal lives with our families. Like, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm an auntie. Like, I've had significant loss in the last couple of years, and grief will do things to you, and there's been a lot of battles, a lot of ups and downs, but I also feel incredibly, closer to my ancestors, to my brother who's not here, but yesterday was his birthday. He's actually standing right behind me right now. Go figure, in this picture for those who are listening in. And they're all a part of what is being breathed into life tonight. This is a big deal. So yeah, I feel different. I feel like I'm growing and I'm becoming more of my most authentic self. And I'm just, I don't know. I'm an open book.
Yet still Wonder Woman. So that part is still there. And I believe it was you, and I'm sorry if I'm incorrect, but I wanted to do a re-listen before I got started, but I just got back in town. But I believe it was you who said, if you walk in and you are the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room. correct? Well, that was you, correct? And you are living that as well. Like you just keep striving, and it's very admirable. It's very encouraging, and it's impressive. You're an impressive woman.
So this episode is going to air in 1 week. So the people who are listening won't be able to catch the event at the City Hall tonight, but they can probably catch it next year. So they should follow you so they can keep up.
Well, actually, so tonight's just the opening reception.
Oh,
This is an exhibit. This is an art exhibit that is in the Link Gallery from November 4th through December 13th.
Incredible.
So if folks are unable to make it to the opening reception, this is where we have like the artists come, and we've got dancing, and who knows, maybe we'll have singing, but it's just going to be a really fun time just to celebrate and elevate Indigenous voices and bring all these folks together in one room. But the exhibit will go through December 13th. And I highly recommend going to visit it. Again, we travel through Turtle Island, and the theme is, what does this land mean to you as an Indigenous person of Turtle Island? So it gives folks a glimpse into each different nation that is being represented there. And again, like, we have to be mindful, like, yes, we have the United States, which is one nation. There are 50 states here, but there are over 570 different nations with their own governments, own language, own culture, own traditions, own cultural expressions. And we have to be mindful of that, they were here first. And so when you go through it, there's a lot of emotions that come through it. And we have language on our walls, and it was beaten out of us. Like, we weren't allowed to speak our language or practice our ceremonies or anything. And so when you walk through City Hall, especially a government building, like, just that in itself, it just show, and that these are residents of this area. Like, we're still here, and we are thriving, and there's a lot that can be said and done. So it will really be an immersive experience that will be on until December 13th.
So you can go in whenever City Hall's open?
Yep. It's whenever City Hall open, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So if you got to go pay your bills or do some research, there are so many people that walk through that halls. It was great. We spent several days and nights putting that exhibit up because, again, it's immersive. It's got like stuff coming off the walls and mannequins with clothes and jewelry and quill work and smells, and it's hardcore. That's
awesome. Incredible.
So, but when folks were walking through it, it's like to listen to what they're saying, the conversations that they're having, the interest that it's sparking between different nations. Like, we're all representing our own nation, and we don't know what the other nation's stuff is. So it was cool to see, we've got Navajo and Seneca going to look up what a flag is that is in Mohawk together. And what it's doing is just, it's initiating conversation and education. And I think it's medicine, it's healing. It was a healing experience for me too. And it was my first exhibit I've curated. I graduated art school, and I've been focusing all on the business side of everything. And finally, it's my debut as an artist, and it's the first exhibit that I've curated. And I graduated almost 20 years ago.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I just got the chills. I cannot wait to experience this. So tell us what else you have coming on this month. So Native Made Market.
We've got the Native Made Market Wednesday, which is unfortunately it's going to air then, but there is the open house at the Rochester Museum and Science Center for the Indigenous Health Coalition. So I'm also an active member of Common Ground's Indigenous Health Coalition to address health disparities within New York State, focusing a lot like here locally, but working our way out. So we've been working now for a full year, and we're inviting the community to come in and network with us on Wednesday if you are available. And then we have the Native Made Market on November 30th, Small Business Saturday at 60 Browns Race. The restaurant venue is an event venue is called La Luna, but we do have our Ally Alley, which is right outside of the restaurant. So we will have that from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on November 30th.
And that's in High Falls?
High Falls, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a great spot.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah. We're right on the falls. And whether it's snowing or warm, we've got the balcony with heat lamps and fire pits and all the good stuff. And we're in, fingers crossed, I can't promote it yet, but we're also in discussion of potentially having a social, which is open to the community right after the market. So we'll tear the market down, open up to the community for a social gathering so you can experience singing, dancing, food. You don't have to go out to the res for it.
That'll be amazing.
And what else is coming up? So not just Native Made. What else is coming up? I know I don't like, we don't know you well, but I know you well enough to know that this is not all you've got going on. So anything else you want to share with the listeners that you've got going on this year, next year?
I am needing some help scaling my business. So I need anybody who might have skills in graphic design, web design, SEO, video, animation. I need to grow my team because we are growing so fast at Native Made that we unfortunately have had to say no to some big contracts because we just don't have the capacity to fulfill right at the moment. So my next big endeavor is trying to grow our team so that we can continue to scale our business and meet the demands. There's a lot going on, but I think this is enough for now to keep people entertained for the next 30 days. But bring me back next year and we'll touch base again.
Well, yeah, we'd love to do that. And what is future Angelina beyond what you just said? Like, how can we, like, what do you see for yourself in 5 years? Where would you like to see Native Made?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'd love to have a philanthropy fund for us to be able to just make contributions to Indigenous entrepreneurs without, it being so stressful.
Right. Sure.
And hopefully a brick and mortar. Hopefully we have a location. The beautiful thing about having the cafe before and also doing marketing and running a retail business, like I have a lot of experience. And so I think the next step is to build the infrastructure to be able to open a gathering space for all of us so we don't have to keep taking this show on the road, so we can have visibility right in downtown Rochester. So hopefully that seed is being planted and we're cultivating, nurturing it right now, but we'll see what grows out of it.
Excellent. Well, we're manifesting it for you for sure. Thank you so much.
And how do people follow you?
Well, they got to either contact me directly through email at nativemadehq@gmail.com. I have a Facebook and Instagram account, but I'm not on there a lot. I try not to be. I know it's kind of ironic that being in marketing and not wanting to have a social presence, media presence, that is pretty intentional. But if you do want to get in touch with me and connect with me there, you can find me at Mrs. Angelina Hilton.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for coming back and catching us up. This has been wonderful. And we're just so proud of you and proud to know you and love being on the outskirts of this journey and watching you continue to grow into whoever Mrs. Angelina Hilton is going to end up.
Thank you for having me. And hopefully we'll see you at the event on November 30th.
Thank you, Angelina.
What an inspiring woman. She's meeting so many needs and isn't ashamed or scared to call people out and just move forward in the things that she believes in. And she's bringing voice to people who have not had a voice for an incredibly long time.
I love the way that she pinpointed what she wanted to be doing 2 years ago into something that makes her feel good about work now. I think we could all learn from that because I feel like we're in that hamster wheel so often of just trying to survive. And she was able to take, okay, these are the things that I'm growing and that I want to be doing, but this is what I'm really passionate about. And how do you make those be the focus? And I think she's done a great job with that.
I think so too. I'm excited to see what's next for her.
Native Made is at High Falls, which is a very historic part of our city. I know we talk about, for the listeners that are not from Rochester, we have a river and multiple waterfalls running through the center of our city. And High Falls is one of the few businesses that gets to take advantage of the view. So over at Brown's Race, La Luna is an event space. It's been a couple of things over the years, but it's a beautiful event space right now overlooking the falls. And if that's not a reason to go to the market,
Yeah.
I mean, there's already so many other reasons to go, but you get to have a beautiful view and see. I feel like it's a very powerful place to be having the Native Made Market.
When she said that, yeah, I was like, power, that makes perfect sense. Like all of that. And it's noisy and just, it's moving, it's active, and that's who she is. It's disruptive. And I couldn't think of a better place. I want to figure out how we can raise money and she can just buy that whole complex.
Exactly.
There used to be a museum there. There used to be a museum there a long time ago, Rochester Museum. I would love to see. Yeah. So that's my next mission. Manifest it, put it out in the world. I would love that to be the case.
Angelina did not ask us to manifest for her to have her next.
Oh no, I'm manifesting it for myself. Yeah.
But I am going to join you in manifesting that. I think that the historic impact and the energy impact, that is a perfect spot. So
I think so too.
Businesses, you need to look for a place to get Native Made Market in there. And City of Rochester, if you're listening, you need to make that happen.
I mean, she's making moves. She's meeting people. She's somebody to watch. I know they do those, who to watch these people. She is somebody you guys got to keep an eye on. She's gonna change, definitely gonna change the city, if not the world.
She already is. Mm-hmm. So you'll have to catch her next year when she comes in for her next update.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to us today. Yeah, wow. It's the time change. Woo! Be brave.
Be bold.
Be the boss.
Be the boss.
Thank you.